afternoon. May I introduce Dr. Tawanrat Niwong Kod. She's recently graduated DMA from Boston University in Clarinet Performance. ตอนนี้เหมือนจะมีแต่คนไทย
ค่ะ ภาษาไทยก่อนนะ
น่าจะรู้จักกันนะครับอาจารย์ตอนนี้สอน Clarinet อยู่ที่จุฬาลงกรณ์ศิลปกรรมใช่ไหมครับ
สวัสดีเป็นภาษาไทยก่อนละกันนะคะวันนี้เนี่ยก็จะมาพูดเรื่องเพลงของบาต็อกนะคะเป็นคอนทราสต์ก็คือเป็นเพลงสำหรับคลาริเนตไวโอลินแล้วก็เปียโนวันนี้ก็จะโฟกัสเฉพาะท่อนแรกนะคะชื่อว่า Verbuncos นะคะเดี๋ยวเราจะเริ่มจากเล่นเพลงท่อนนี้ให้ฟังก่อนทุกคนจะได้ลองคุ้นๆว่าเพลงมันเป็นแบบนี้นะคะไม่ยาวมากประมาณ5 นาที
เ
I hope you guys enjoyed it. So, first of all, thank you all for coming to this session. And I'll be talking about the use of Hungarian art music in Bartók's contrast, focusing on the first movement, Vabunkos. Bela Bartók is one of the most significant composers and musicians in the 20th century. He also has an important role in the ethnomusicology area. Bartók synthesized the Hungarian folk music and others that he studied to create his own unique compositional style. His collaboration with Sultan Kodail provides numerous folk music collections. The folk music elements presented in Bartók's music give his composition a distinctive character that separates him from other composers during his time. During the 1930s, Bartók continued his research on folk music using sources from several institutions. In 1932, he attended the International Congress of Arab Folk Music in Cairo. Then, in 1934, he went to study about Romanian folk music at the Budapest Phonogram Archives. He also began work on the publication of his Hungarian folk music collection in the same year. In 1936, he became a member of the Hungarian Academy of the Sciences and visited Turkey for his last folk music collecting trip during the same year. Contrast was composed on September 24, 1938, in Budapest, and was published by Busse and Hawkes in 1942. The work is dedicated to Benny Goodman, clarinetist, and Joseph Szigeti, violinist. It is one of the legitimate works to be commissioned by Goodman. Contrast for violin, clarinet, and piano is the only chamber work that Bartók used a wind instrument. He originally designed the work as a rhapsody in 2 movements, in the style equivalent to the lassú and friss, or slow and fast sections of the Hungarian dance pair of Csadád style. Bartók has used this form in many other works, such as his first string quartet. He extended the work by adding the 51-measure slow middle movement entitled Pihenő, meaning relaxation. And it was the 2-movement form that premiered on January 9, 1939 by Joseph Szigeti, Benny Goodman, and Andrei Prétry, a student of Dohnányi, at Carnegie Hall in New York. Then, the first complete performance was given on February 4, 1941 at Jordan Hall in Boston by Joseph Szigeti, Benny Goodman, and Bela Bartók on piano. Although this work is the first and only chamber work of Bartók's to include a wind instrument, he employs clarinet as if writing for his own instrument. The part is very idiomatic. Oh, I have to say first, I am a clarinetist, so I'll be talking more about clarinet. The part is very idiomatic of the clarinet and just as technically demanding as the violin part. The violin and clarinet remain of equal importance throughout the work, passing themes back and forth, imitating and mimicking each other's melodic gestures. For example, the clarinet cadenza of the first movement is matched by the violin cadenza in the third movement. The name of the first movement, Vabunkos, is a characteristic type of instrumental Hungarian dance music derived from dances used in recruiting for the Austro-Hungarian army in the 18th and early 19th centuries. A group of musicians and dancers would go from village to village and perform a well-drilled military dance, or vabunkos. A dance employs a bouncy rhythmic figure by the use of dotted 8 and 16 note. It is also features an accompaniment pattern called duvet, which is a type of an offbeat accompaniment typical of vabunkos. So here is an example of the vabunkos by dancers in the soldier outfit. So the melody is just repeated over and over. So I'll stop here since we don't have much time, but I think you have a sense of what vibungo is like. So here I have an example of the rhythmic patterns that Bartók used in the first movement of contrast. You can clearly see several dotted rhythm and the combination of a short note value with a long note value. So the player must be able to distinguish between the triplet, 16th, and 32nd note values. Now, in terms of form, we can see that the movement combines sonata, ternary, and arch forms in ways that both confirm and differ standard features of all three formal structures. So no matter which interpretation we choose, it is evident that measure 57, so please keep this number in mind, measure 57, is the most important structural point of the piece. And I will explain about measure 57 in a second. So in the opening statement, a descending whole tone scale outlines the interval that this composition so frequently relies upon, the D sharp and A. So the compact rhythmic aspects of this piece are displayed immediately by the dry pizzicato ascending violin line. The first theme is taken by the clarinet over triple stops in the violin and rhythmical accentuations in the piano. And I call this theme as motif A. Some people call this like the exposition section. The tritone frame of motif A is used extensively throughout the work at various structural levels. And the theme is rather dance-like and of folkish character, consisting chiefly of triads and semitones, and is richly ornamented. The violin also introduced motif A in measure 17, but this time in another tritone frame, C to F sharp. The clarinet continues the arpeggiate figure, and the piano resumes its role as an accompaniment, frequently employing the tritone in the sonorities beneath. Obviously, A, D sharp, C, and F sharp are the four main pitch classes in this movement. To illustrate, A is the primary pitch class, A to D sharp is the primary tritone, and C to F sharp is the secondary tritone. The next section, or B section, starting from measure 30, is different than the previous and is based upon the simple iambic figure, the triplet 8 and quarter note. So the term iambic is usually used in the poetry, in which the rhythm is in 6/8. So in comparing to the Thai poetry, I think it sounds similar to Klong Si Supap. So the rhythm is like pa 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 pa. So the violin in widely spaced double stops states the theme of the section. The phrases are basically 4 meters long, similar in structure to folk songs of the Hungarian peasant. The piano lightly supports the violin figures as the clarinet retains the rhythm of the first section. The beginning of the A prime or recapitulation section begins with the original 4-note clarinet pattern. Ba-ba-ba-bam. So in Lin Vide, who is a Bartók scholar, discussion of Bartókian techniques, he cites several examples in which Bartók employed the fraction of 618 over 1000 to determine appropriate length for the opening or longer initial section. This device is apparently used in the vibungos. So now we have to do some of the maths. So do you remember measure 57? So the entire movement consists of 93 measure. So 93 times 0.618 equal, can you do math? No, I will do it for you. It's equal 57.474. Therefore, it indicates the reprise or the recapitulation should begin in the middle of measure 57. So here it is. The recapitulation or motif A comes back at the golden section, middle of measure 57. So the 4-note motif is passed to the violin, then the piano, and the following measure is a tone cluster trill, creating an interesting color that differ from the opening. The movement ends with the clarinet cadenza beneath 3 measures of violin pizzicato. The texture is similar to the beginning. The clarinet states the original motif, then dives into a virtuosic unaccompanied cadenza. The cadenza explores the clarinet's capabilities and displays Bartók's knowledge and adaptability in writing for winds. And you remember that this is the only work that Bartók wrote for a wind instrument. So the influence of the tritone is especially noticeable throughout, especially in the note groups of 5. The violin and piano enter on the last 5 measures with a texture similar to the opening. The piano outlining the descending tritone from D sharp to A, the primary tritone, and the violin with the ascending pizzicato line. The movement, which seemed to center to around A throughout, closes on A, E, C sharp, and D sharp, ending with a traditional dominant. Tonic in the piano with an A major triad in the violin and the D sharp in the clarinet, the primary tritone frame. So to summarize, this research focuses on the folk rhythms and motif structure in the first movement of Bartók's contrast. So we see how Bartók began to compose with the use of folk rhythms that use the dotted rhythm and melodies, adding more layer varieties and absorb folk music elements into his work. In his composition, irregular subdivided rhythmic patterns, a rhythmic feature of Hungarian art music, polymodality, pentatonic, octatonic scales are used continuously and frequently, which establish his unique compositional style. Thank you. So is there any? Thank you.
Which recording was that? The one
It was with the original one with Bella Bartok, Benny Goodman, and Joseph Szigeti. Not me playing. Do you like it? Cool. Any question? Do? So I think most of you are winds players, right? Any pianist? Pianist. And I know one violinist, maybe? No? So I think this piece is like one of the most favorite recital piece for violin, clarinet, and piano, right? Yeah.
It's very nice that he used the golden numbers.
Yeah, and I think he used this method in many of his work. So when we learn Bartók piece, we have to do lots of math. It's like he usually do the ratio, call like สัดส่วน like 1 ต่อ 2, something like that. And the fraction that I mentioned, point like 618 over 1000, he used this method like in many of his works. So he do like for example, in this piece there are 93 measures. So he did the math with 93 คูณ93คูณจุด618พูดภาษาไทย so and he gets 57 point blah blah blah, and he calls that golden section. So if you studied any other Bartók's work, like he wrote so many piano things, and you will find this golden section in many of his works.เย้อ้าวมีอีกได้ค่ะ
คือตามเมทัลนอมมาร์กิ้ง
อือฮึ
คิดว่ามัน
เมทานอมมาตอนในแต่ละที่ใช่ไหมคะ
แต่ว่ามันมีสัดส่วนอะไรเกี่ยวข้องกัน
ไม่มี ใช่ไม่มีแต่ว่าเขาจะมีที่น่าสนใจในเพลงนี้นะคะ ขอหาก่อน คือบางตรงอ่ะเขาจะมีเขียนบางตรง เขาจะมีเขียนเลขนาทีเอาไว้อ่ะเดี๋ยวนะ อย่างเช่นตรงเนี้ยเห็นไหมมี57แล้วก็มีแบบบอกว่า duration มันควรจะประมาณเท่าไหร่ คือเราควรจะ take metronome marking ให้แบบ precise มากที่สุด พูดปนภาษาไทยอังกฤษขอโทษ ประมาณนั้น แต่เหมือนแบบ คือเขาเหมือนเขาเรียกว่าอะไรอ่ะ ชอบการมีตัวเลขให้มันดูแบบแฟนซีดูแบบมีความรู้อ่ะ ประมาณนี้ ค่ะ
duration เสียค่าตรงนั้นเขาคิดว่าเขาคิดเลขนี้ไว้เป็น magic number
อะไรแบบนั้น เหมือนแบบหวยงวดนี้อาจจะ 458นะคะ เดี๋ยวออกนี่แบ่งกันรวยด้วยนะคะ ใครมีคำถามภาษาไทยก็ได้นะ อุ้ย
ผมมีคำถาม
ค่ะ
เรื่องพิชอย่างเงี้ยครับ
pitch
พิชที่เขาใช้ในเพลงเนี้ยครับ
อือฮึ
คือมันมีมันได้รับเขาเอามาจากฮังการีนโฟกอย่างเดียวหรือว่าเขา
อื
เอามาจาม กโฟกอย่างอื่นด้วยหรือเปล่าครับ
เป็นคำถามที่ดีมากค่ะ คือบาตอกเนี่ยเขาจะชอบใช้ในเพลงเขาเนี่ยหลักๆ จะชอบใช้ไตรโทน ซึ่งถ้าเป็นคนไทยเนี่ยจะไม่ชอบใช่ไหม คือคนไทยจะใช้สเกลแบบเพนทาโทนิก ซึ่งในโฟล์กมิวสิกของฮังการีนก็ชอบใช้เพนทาโทนิกเหมือนกัน แต่คราวเนี้ยบาตอกในเพลงนี้เขาแบบ ส่วนใหญ่จะไม่เอาเพนทาโทนิกมาใช้มาก แต่จะเจอแค่ในเวลาคลาริเนตไล่หาโน้ตกันนะคะ คลาริเนตไล่5 พยางค์อะค่ะ มีไหมตรงนี้เนี่ยคาเดนซ่าตรงขยับเมาส์นี่เนี่ยไล่ขึ้นไป แต่ที่น่าสนใจคือมันเป็นเพนทาโทนิกแต่ว่าโน้ตตัวล่างอะค่ะ ตัวที่เริ่มอะพอแยกออกมาแล้วอะมันเป็นไตรโทนมันจะมีความแบบ โอ้โห อะไรขนาดนี้ แล้วแบบเวลาเปียโนคือในท่อนนี้โดยเฉพาะค่ะเปียโนจะเป็นเหมือนแนว accompaniment มากกว่า ซึ่งคอร์ดที่เป็นโนเล่นอ่ะ ก็เป็นไตรโทนประมาณนี้ค่ะ เป็นตอบคำถามไหม มีใครอยากถามอะไรอีกไหมคะ มีใครอยากเล่นเพลงนี้ไหมคะ หรือว่าเคยเล่นแล้ว ลองเล่นดูสนุกมากค่ะ ใช่ แต่จริงๆ ท่อนนี้เนี่ยคลาริเนตยากที่สุด ลองมาเป็นไวโอลินจะยากตอนที่เขาใช้แบบดับเบิลสต็อปแล้วมันนิ้วห่าง ส่วนท่อนเนี้ยเป็นโนง่ายที่สุด แต่ถ้าข้ามไปท่อน3เนี่ยจะมีความ ความอะไรคริสิสเกิดขึ้น ประมาณนี้ค่ะ โอเคไหม โอเคเนาะ ขอบคุณนะคะขอบคุณค่ะ